1. Went to have lunch with my boyfriend over his break. We ate at the back room and then finished up and walked out of the back room into the store. That's when Karen spotted me. My boyfriend was wearing the uniform of the store, solid colored shirt with name tag and solid colored pants. I was wearing a polka dotted cardigan and denim skirt, no name tag, zebra print Converse, and jewelry. He works in a department store and made a beeline for his department, which is mostly outdoors. I decided to stick around to buy some windshield wiper fluid, so was walking towards that aisle. Karen flags me down.
Excuse me, hey, hi, I'm in a rush, babe, so...
Hi, actually I need to buy a desk fan and... Oh, actually...
I'm not finished.
But...
A desk fan and bath towels. The soft kind, not the cheap ones. Do you have a laminating sheets? Actually, never mind, I need a...
Ma'am, listen.
A mesh basket, staple refillers. Are there different sizes? Anyways, I need the medium size, I guess. Are you listening? I'm in a huge rush and...
So, finally I just started walking away. It's at this point that Karen grabs my shoulder. I don't react well to being touched by strangers. What are you doing?
I wasn't finished. I'm on a time crunch, babe. Why are you being so impatient? I mean, really, you're at work, honey. It's like no one respects people older than them these days. I just can't believe.
I don't work here. Do I look like I work here? Karen looks at me and realizes her mistake and becomes visibly embarrassed. I'm finally calming down from having been grabbed by a stranger.
But you came out of an employee-only door.
I was visiting my boyfriend for lunch. Even if I worked here, you just don't touch someone!
So you really don't work here?
No.
So can your boyfriend help me?
No, he works in gardening! Karen stops to think for a moment. I guess she had a system error when she couldn't ask for my manager, seeing as I didn't work there. She was looking extra embarrassed now and dramatically shielding her face, like there were paparazzi covering her important life.
Well, you probably know the store if your boyfriend works here. You could just help me find my things. That would be a nice thing after causing this inconvenience when I told you I'm in a hurry.
Why would I help you after you grabbed me like a street thug? Are you insane? We're done. I turn to go, still shaken up. She calls after me.
You can't blame me for thinking you work here when you came out of an employee-only door. I'm gonna report your boyfriend to the garden manager for having you back there.
Bitch! I stopped myself before I went into a full-on rage.
Excusez-moi.
I stopped walking away at this point because I didn't actually know whether my boyfriend was technically allowed to have me back there or eat lunch back there, and didn't want to get him in trouble. But I also couldn't bring myself to help this woman after all that. Fine, I'll help you, just make it quick. I snatched her list from her and sure enough, I knew where about half the things were. Which made it all that much easier to strategically avoid those aisles as I dragged Karen on a time-sucking trek around the store. This is always where they keep the laminating sheets, and they're out, but you can get a 48-pack of duct tape. And tape a clear layer over your documents, it'll work just as well, here you go. I could have sworn it was aisle 5, I guess it's actually aisle 25. We have to go back, oh silly me, it was aisle 6. Back we go. You know what, they're out, my mistake, it's actually aisle 18. We did this for almost 45 minutes, longer than I thought I could pull off. There's no cell reception in the store and almost no clocks to keep people shopping longer. So it wasn't until we walked past customer service and she saw their desk clock that she realized how long this had been going on. She was pissed. She stormed past 8 people waiting in the customer service queue to file a complaint about me eating lunch with my boyfriend, then wasting her time. I knew the customer service guy, not super well, but we'd met. He listened patiently to her side of the story, then came over to me separately and asked what happened. I broke down. I was so upset. I said I was having lunch with my boyfriend. And then she saw me leaving the back room and said if I didn't help her buy the things on her list, she'd get him fired. And I had no idea it was against the rules, and he didn't either, I swear. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to waste her time. This story's just so big, and she didn't give me a choice and said I had to help her, and... I'm crying by then, and the customer service guy goes, whoa, slow down. People have lunch back there all the time, it's not a problem. I'll give her a coupon and she'll unclench, just go home. So I lingered to be sure the customer service guy didn't get in any trouble defending me. Because of the hierarchy, he was basically on the same level as my boyfriend, so would be vulnerable if Karen escalated. Ma'am, if you'll just join the line, I will resolve this issue to your satisfaction.
Are you fucking kidding me? I just missed my appointment because of that backroom bimbo, and you're telling me to what? Wait, what, where, what? Where's your manager?
I can call my direct supervisor, ma'am, but you'll have to wait for him at the back of the line. These other customers have been here, and once I service them, I'll help you right away.
I want to talk to him now.
He isn't back here at the moment. He's attending to business elsewhere in the store, but I have notified him he's needed at this desk and he'll be here to assist you at his earliest convenience.
Don't try to play me dumb. He's back there. I can tell he's back there.
If he were here, you'd see him. Back here is just behind the desk. Further back, all we have back there is a fax machine and a file cabinet, I assure you. There are no offices or anywhere anyone would be staked out to avoid you. Now excuse me, I need to help this customer. Karen keeps trying to get his attention and he keeps helping someone who's returning a cartload of stuff. Finally, Karen tries to launch herself over the counter, but does not have the agility to make it over and just kind of bounced a couple inches off the ground. Security came over at this point and asked her to either join the queue, shop, or go home. She stalked off with a security officer way less understanding than the customer service guy to try and sell her tale of woe. I took that opportunity to go home. My boyfriend had to go directly to his second job, but I can't wait to laugh about this with him later. 2. This happened last week to me. To give context, I work in the grocery department at a big box store, specifically in the produce section. Now, the produce section is super small, so it also contains both the meat and bakery section. Anyway, as I'm stocking the produce table, a Karen comes up to me.
Excuse me, do you work here?
Yes, ma'am, what can I do for you?
Well, I'm looking for organic chicken brand, and I can't seem to find it.
Oh, let's see if we have any on the shelf. I start to walk over to check the meat section to check when she stops me.
That was a trick question. You guys are out. And you've been out for the last 2 weeks. I want to know what's going on. Why are you guys out?
Well, it's a very popular brand.
No, it's not that popular. I come to this place at least once a day, and I've noticed you guys have been out of it for the last 2 weeks. I want to know what's going on. I eat a lot of chicken, and that's the only brand that I buy.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I really don't know what's going on with that brand. I haven't seen it come on the truck in a while.
Well, can't you order it? I called this location one time and complained about it, and the guy told me over the phone that he was ordering it right then. When I came in the next day, y'all had it.
That confused me. I've been ordering for this department for the last year and a half, and I've never seen chicken on the order guide. The only time I have ever ordered meat is during Thanksgiving and Christmas time, and the only thing remotely close to chicken are the Cornish hens and turkey. I take out my device, pull up the order guide, and show her. I physically cannot do that, ma'am. It's not on my order guide. I'm not really sure who you talk to, but...
Are you trying to tell me you can't order it? I'm not buying that. I called this location and the guy I talked to was able to order it. I don't understand how you can't.
I repeated what I said and showed her again. She crosses her arms and repeats what she said. At this point, I'm struggling not to snap at her. Then an idea came to my mind. I don't think I'm explaining myself clearly. Let me get my manager. Maybe she can explain it better. In the meantime, the grocery truck came, so let me see if any came in today. Karen glares at me.
So you're telling me there is some? You really should...
I never said that. I'm going to go back and see while I get my manager. I'm just trying to help. That seemed to please the Karen as she smirked at me.
Oh, okay then. That would be great.
I went to the back room to get my manager and gave her a brief rundown on what was happening. We both checked if any of the chicken came on the truck today, but unfortunately it did not. She then followed me back to the Karen, who was angrily typing away on her phone. When she saw us approach, she had a surprised look on her face.
Oh, I'm surprised you actually brought someone.
My manager asked what was going on, and Karen reiterated what she said to me to my manager. My manager gave her the same response as I did, which was not very effective.
It's so frustrating that you guys don't have my product. It's so inconvenient for me to have to drive to another store just to get my chicken.
And rambles on about it. Eventually, my manager cuts her off and says, I'm very sorry you have to drive all this way. I'll talk to my district manager and request that he sends more chicken to this store. Karen perks up at this and goes,
That would be great. It's just so frustrating that...
And she goes on another spiel. My poor manager stood there and listened until the Karen finally walked off. 3. Alright, ladies and gents, buckle down because this one is a doozy. So I did a college internship with a very popular magical theme park in Orlando this past year. Working at such a large theme park, there are hundreds and hundreds of different costumes. that span across the park, some which I honestly could see how they would be mixed up with some large stores and their uniforms, aka red shirt and khakis. This did not apply to my costume, however. It was very unique, and I really don't get how this happened to this day. I worked at a huge merch location in my park. One could say it was gear-tastic. Our whole store was gear-themed, and we have working gears all around the store. This being said, our costume consisted of a shirt that is red, blue, and yellow. It had giant gears embroidered on the front, and it is literally impossible to miss. Not to mention the embroidered mouse on the back. To complement this amazing shirt, our pants are high-waisted gray slacks. When I say high-waisted, they made anyone who wore them look like a grandma. Now, with this company comes lots and lots of training. We were told it's perfectly fine going out in public in our costumes. We are human too. We are just told to make sure none of our company's IDs are shown. And we remove our iconic name tag. That being said, I found myself grocery shopping after work from time to time. After a particularly long shift, I want to say 13 hours, I made my way to the closest Big Blue store. We all know how many Karens lurk the aisles of that store. Now amp that up by 9,000 because they are all on vacation. This particular store is very close to the theme park, so it's safe to say these people have probably been visiting our parks. It was about 11 p.m., and needless to say, the store was packed, as the parks just closed. I made my rounds around the store, gather what I need, and end up at the self-checkout. This particular store is always packed, but the self-checkout was definitely the fastest. So I thought. This is where the story really gets interesting. I have a full cart, and I'm just waiting in line for a checkout to open. I'm playing on my phone at this point, not knowing the shit show that is about to happen. Our lovely Karen of the evening is having issues with her self-checkout. And usually there's an employee in a blue vest that is there to help, right? Wrong. There was no store employee in sight. So naturally, when her eyes landed on me, she automatically thought I was somehow employed by this store. She yells something like, "Hey, come help me!" towards my general direction. But as I'm not an employee, I didn't think she was speaking to me. I continued to play on my phone, and she yells again, "Excuse me! Stop sitting on your phone and do your job!" At this point, I realized she was talking to me. I gave a polite, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't work here." And boy, did this set her off. This is where any normal person would think, oh, duh, they aren't even wearing the uniform. But not this Karen. She was in too deep. She started blowing hot air out of her ears just like in the cartoons, I swear. She makes her way over to me and gets super close to my face. "You are going to stop being lazy and you're going to help me right now. Teenagers like you need to learn how to do their goddamn job. It's a wonder your generation is even still alive at this point. Now help me with this machine or I will speak to your manager." Let it be known I am 20 and honestly look nothing like a teen. I let out another, "Ma'am, I promise you I don't work here. I'm sure someone will be around soon to help you." Throughout this whole encounter, I had to keep up the whole niceness persona, as I'm repping my own company and they have a high standard for customer service. She starts going ballistic and screaming about getting a manager and how she's going to corporate about how I won't help her. She pulls a race card, and I really had it at this point. Luckily for me, the woman and her family in front of me stepped in and said, "Lady, she literally works at the theme park. She doesn't work here, leave her alone." Karen is full on red in the face now. She spits at me and starts yelling for a manager. "Excuse me, I need a manager!" Finally, a blue-vested employee comes over. He starts calming our wonderful Karen down and trying to understand what is happening. At this point, I just push my cart past Crazy Lady and I start checking out. I just wanted to get home and make a corn dog. I hadn't eaten all day, and I already had to deal with crazy guests at my own job. So I was not about to be berated outside of my job too. Well, Mrs. Karen followed me to my checkout and continued to yell at our blue vest boy. "This little girl you'll have working here gave me attitude and I will not stand for this. I am on vacation. I am not about to let your employee treat me like this. She's only treating me like this because I'm an Oompa Loompa." At this point, she is blocking me from my items in my cart and I just want to check out. The blue vest calls for backup and a manager comes and calms her down. Luckily, our manager friend takes Karen away from me so I can finish checking out. At this point, I just want to cry and eat my corn dog. After Karen left, I bagged up my items as fast as possible and booked it out of there. I never learned what happened to Karen, but I hope she is satisfied. Anyways, that's the story of the craziest Karen I have ever encountered. And it wasn't even at my job, which is a Karen trap. 4. Anyone who has worked in retail for any period of time knows there is no end to the horror stories that come with the job. Though I myself have many such stories, what I'm writing about today is the story of a little boy I met at the beginning of my career. This is probably my favorite story to tell. When I first started my job as a cashier, there was a single mom, Pam, who would shop every other day with her 10-year-old son, Gabe. Gabe was a very mild-mannered boy, very shy. One day I'm ringing up their order and Gabe shyly asks me, "Can I help?" It's a slow day and there's no one else in line, so with an approving nod between me and Pam, I say yes. I let him behind the register and show him all the buttons. He scans a few items and puts them in bags and is having an absolute blast. I didn't think much of it until a few days later. Before I punch in, my manager hands me an envelope. She said a customer dropped it off for me earlier that morning. Inside the envelope there were 2 handwritten letters, one from Pam and one from Gabe. Gabe was thanking me for letting him help and said he had lots of fun learning how the register works, and that when he grows up he wants to be a cashier. I was just on the verge of tears when I started reading Pam's letter. In it she tells me about how much Gabe struggles with social interaction, and that it was usually very difficult for her to get him in the store because he was easily overwhelmed by the noises and people. But now that he has had a good experience, he just can't wait to come in. From then on, whenever Gabe would come in on my shift, he would have to come give me a hug. He started carrying a notebook with him and would write little notes about the store and how it all worked. Fast forward 7 years, I have now become a front-end manager, and we've been put in charge of Young Person's Career Training Class, a program we do every summer to train students who are about to graduate, and who also have some sort of learning disability. And wouldn't you know, the first smiling face to greet me when I walk in the room is none other than Gabe. Throughout the summer I train the class on all the basics, and Gabe is soaking it up like a super sponge. He did so well that the store manager decided to hire him right out of high school, and to my knowledge, now almost 3 years later, he is still there and one of the best service clerks in the store. I count myself as being very blessed for the opportunity to watch this young, shy little boy turn into a charismatic, hard-working young man. I use my memories of Gabe and his progress as a reminder that no act of kindness is too small. Taking 5 minutes to be kind could literally change a person's life. Thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day. 5. So this happened the other day while I was doing some shopping at Costco. Background. I'm a graduate student currently working part-time at a family-run asbestos removal company, while I get my graduate work done. One of the tasks that I occasionally have to run is to run to Costco for office supplies like paper towels, waters, the occasional snack purchase, and weirdly enough, baby wipes. I know why baby wipes. The thing is, baby wipes are very useful in construction for not only a quick and easy hand wipe or emergency toilet paper, but to wipe off sweat from face masks and eyewear. In the asbestos removal industry, we have to wear masks to protect us from the asbestos and particles in the air made by disturbing the material. The thing is, constantly sweating causes our masks to irritate our skin since it rubs, and so we find that baby wipes can disinfect the masks as well as cause no irritation compared to other disinfecting wipes. Now for the story. Grabbing one of those pallet carts, the ones where they are long and have only the flat bottom, I make my way into the Costco list in hand. First stop is the food area since I was going to pick up some snacks for the office, and here is where I meet the first confused customer. Me, surprise surprise. It's me. See, customer's BGF board game friend. Customer 1 is a middle-aged Middle Eastern woman. She comes strolling towards me as I peruse the produce. "Excuse me, but do you know where the green mangoes are?" I look up from the apples, obviously confused. "Hello there. Sorry, I don't work here. I don't know if they have them anyways. Have a nice day." Then I slowly start to move my cart away as she gave a shrug. At this point I think that was odd, since I'm wearing a collared t-shirt with a University of Nevada logo on, go Wolfpack, and blue jeans, no name tag in sight. After gathering some snacks, 12 cases of baby wipes, and helping an old lady with a case of water because I'm a nice person, I spot some of my board gaming friends. Apparently they were shopping before the gaming club that was later that night. We laugh and talk about plans for later that night, before I headed back down towards the sodas where I was stopped by another customer. Not 1 minute after I finished chatting with the friends in plain view. Customer 2, a middle-aged white male, walks right up to my obviously full cart. "Hello, do you work here?" Now I'm really confused on why someone would ask that since I was clearly chatting with friends and loading stuff into my cart. "No, sorry, check the back corner where they bring stuff out from the back." "Okay, thanks." This is getting super weird now since nothing about me screams Costco employee. Like seriously, they all have name tags. Shrugging that off, I head towards the vitamin aisle, because the boss wants some protein shakes and I get stopped again. Customer 3, mid-30s Asian female.
"Excuse me, do you know where the chips are?"
At this point, I have a mix between surprised Pikachu face and utter confusion. "I don't work here, sorry." "Good luck." I quickly leave after shoving 2 cases of protein shakes into the cart, and pushed the cart as fast as I could into one of the lines where, funnily enough, the gamer friends were in the line next to me. "Hey guys, long time no see. We chuckle a bit since, it's funny. You would never guess what happened. I got mistaken for an employee not once, not twice, but 3 times. They both laugh a bit when one more of them piped up. "I think it's because you have a collared shirt on and you're pushing one of those larger carts." Like, seriously? I rarely see employees with shopping carts, but usually you can tell who is who with the aforementioned name tag, and they would have been more likely restocking, not unloading. After that ordeal, I decided to treat myself to a slice of their amazing pepperoni pizza for dealing with all that shenanigans. We had a good joke about it later that night at the board game club, and the guy who I saw at Costco even called me Costco Boy as a joking nickname. Though that is more likely because he was salty I whipped their butts that night. 2 for 2 in the win category. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, number 72. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Right, well, with any luck, today, when this video goes up, I will have someone come to finally fix the plumbing in my house. It's been a bit of an issue for, well, most of the year, to be honest with you, but it's gotten worse to the point where I finally couldn't put up with it anymore, and I had to phone and get I asked to have a tap replaced, because that seems to be the cause of the trouble. Essentially, when the neighbors is constantly it's constantly leaking. It's much more of a problem. It's constantly leaking and dripping, which, minor annoyance, so that's why I put on with it. But the problem's gotten worse now, so when the neighbors are turning their water on and off, my taps are basically whistling and screeching. So that's getting quite irritating, especially if it does it when I'm trying to record. It's worse during the day because people tend to be more active during the day. And so I have somebody coming tomorrow to do 2 jobs. One, replace the tap, or just replace a washer on the tap. I don't know what they'll actually do. It'd be quicker to replace the tap. And see if there's some sort of air blockage in the pipes as well. Maybe they can fix that. So fingers and toes crossed. Well, that's probably a bad idea. If you cross your toes, you'll fall over, surely. Anyway, never mind. I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.